brought back Chowder, and I brought back
Yes,
VEXFC
sir.
for a collab.
Hello.
So how y'all doing?
Holy shit.
How's it going?
I'm living, doing my own thing and
I'm
shit.
doing well.
Uh,
I got up about an hour ago, so feeling good.
that's
Shit,
awesome.
alright.
So two people here, of course, not like fully into the creative scene right now. You're a little bit out of it,
Mhm.
understandably, because things haven't been awesome uh, as of recently, and that's why I wanted to jump directly in to the first and most important thing I wanted to talk about is the recent payout changes that Epic made. I think Vex, you pulled it up earlier. Could you remind me what it says?
Yeah, I will. When we introduced the time played metric last year, we lowered the weighting of player acquisition and noted that we expected to rebalance the metrics over time as we add the new features and tools. One of the last 9 months, we introduced text search, creator pages, meaningful updates to discover, persistence, and more empowering creators to meaningfully impact and track how players discover and interact with their islands. Independently, creators have found increasing success by promoting their work on social media and collaborating with influencers to bring players their best experiences. This adjustment better reflects the importance of introducing new players to the Fortnite ecosystem and introduces more paths to success for creators who market their games off-platform. We will
All right.
continue to offer functionality and help creators extend their brand and better understand their audience, such as the launch of enhanced analytics in Creator Portal in June and the introduction of Creator Marketing Playbook in July. So, there you go.
Now, I'll be totally honest with the both of you and everyone. The first time I read that over, I when I first read it, it sounds like a really great thing because they worded it nicely.
Well, yeah, because they word it perfectly, yeah.
Um, and all in all, I thought what they were doing was, in a way, just promoting the idea of promoting on social media, which, by the way, you should do regardless. You should
Yeah, you
always promote
should.
on
100%.
social
You
media.
absolutely should.
But what essentially what they're saying is people who can't get new players onto Fortnite is what they're saying. People who can't get new players onto Fortnite won't be paid as much as they were before. And
Yeah.
you should have seen a lot of it on Twitter, especially this week. A lot of
Yeah,
people, like a lot of people,
if
got
you
their payouts
ban,
cut, lost a big portion of their payouts. It's pretty bad out there right now.
Mm.
Um, and so there's a lot of retaliation happening on social media. What are your takes on it? I'll start with Chowder.
I think that shit's horrible, bro. Because like people, especially for small creators who can't gain like a crazy audience and can't get players to Fortnite, like they're not gonna be able to profit, and that's just a huge, demotivator. You know what I mean? Um, that shit would kick me off the platform. I would leave, bro. Like straight up, because like people, there's some creators, man, that like really believe in this and take this as a career. So for them, dude, they can't put food on the table when they're not making fucking money from the game. You know what I mean? So yeah, no, for sure. I think it's a pretty shitty feature.
And Vex, what about you?
I think that's a great point on like the personal side of creators. Like, you have to put food on the table. I think as far as a business, Epic needs cash flow, and so they're driving more cash flow to the more popular islands. Like they said, they want to market Fortnite as a game,
Exactly.
not the games within them. They want to market the actual game. I think
Mm.
that's driving cash flow back to Epic themselves, and then they're going to figure out what to do from there. But I think after the 40% revenue split, probably
Mhm.
not hurting, but at the same time, like, the way they did it was just, to me, it just screams that they were asking for publicity, just like to get attention on UEFN, and
Mhm.
now they're angling it down, benefits them.
Yeah, no,
Mm.
one of
That's a really
that
good
was
point.
like one of the big things that I kind of extracted out of the article that Vex here just read. Is they kind of refer to us creators, their own creators, as marketers for the game, which was a bit odd to me because I personally feel like uh, as someone who makes games on UEFN, you know, we should be seen more as like actual game devs. And
Yeah,
you
Mhm.
know,
and
tell me if I'm wrong, but that's what we are. We're working in an engine, we're making games in an engine, and we're showing them to thousands, hundreds, thousands of people. That I feel like that would make us game devs, and the fact that Fortnite is seeing us more as people to market their game, bit odd.
It
Uh,
is a bit
oh,
odd, yeah.
absolutely. Like even qualified as modders is like that's more fair than marketers because like you look at games like Lethal Company is a good example. Like the people that make mods for that are not marketing for the game. They're just
Mhm.
making the game better and making their own content. It's like
exactly.
that's modding.
Now,
That's not marketing the actual game.
now, of course, Fortnite. At the end of the day, Fortnite marketers is part of our job description because no matter what, whether you're a modder, a game dev inside of a platform, at the end of the day, it goes full circle because even though you're making games, you are still driving people to that game, right? People who
Right.
mod Lethal Company, even though they're adding their own things, they're still driving people to play Lethal Company. If people
Yeah,
see that mod and they're like, I want to play that, they have to get Lethal Company first. And so,
absolutely. Yeah,
no matter what, people are still going to be driven back to the game. And so, when you're promoting your
Mhm.
games for Fortnite on social media, whether it be Fortnite, Roblox, Dreams, um, no matter what platform it's on, you're still driving people back to that original game. But at the end of the day, you're still making games, and that does make you a game dev.
absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Um, I
100%.
I remembered like I remember Syntax a long time ago. You got Chowda especially should remember this. Chowda, Syntax a long time ago. He was so against the idea of calling yourself a game dev in the Fortnite creative scene,
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
which
100%.
also
Yeah.
is
remember that barely, but I do remember elements of that.
which is essentially because how can you be a game dev in a platform where you're not working on an engine and it's so unstable that you can't get a map out without a bug?
Yeah.
I
Which
think he
still
called it like quote
still
unquote like game within a game.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
definitely one of
Yep.
his quotes. Um, and I mean, you could say essentially that is what it is still today, but
Yeah,
at the same time, right now that we have the tools, we have the ability, you are making full games inside of Fortnite now, and the way that things work has entirely changed, you know. And it's not the way that it used to be when we were starting out originally.
yeah,
Um, Now, more on the payout situation, there's been a lot of like back and forth in the community, specifically on Twitter, because of course it's on Twitter. Um,
Yep.
a lot of I've noticed more on the older side, people who are both not just newer but also older in age in the
yep,
creative scene, kind of arguing more towards the fact that creators who lost payout and don't like the change are unappreciative or weak. I've even seen, and I'm not gonna say that I like entirely disagree because I do think that uh, totally honest, Fortnite creators are spoiled because
yeah,
let's be real, we have a engine that provides us all the tools we need without having to pay for any of it, you know, and that's something really special is that we have that capability whereas you don't have that ability using Unity or Unreal Engine, you know. So UEFN is truly a special place where we do have access to all these special things that other people don't have access to really quickly, really easily, and for a very low cost, if not free. So we are spoiled, no matter how you want to look at it. But at the end of the
100%.
day, as Vex was saying earlier, and as you were also saying earlier, Chowda, people make businesses off of this game, off of Fortnite. There are businesses that are
Mhm.
built off of Fortnite. There are people who need to feed their employees. There are people who need to feed their families. There are people who need to feed themselves,
Yep.
and um, so there are people who pay rent. There are people who pay bills. There are people who have expenses they need to be paid, and they're trying to make a living off of something they enjoy, which would be making games. And Fortnite is a
Yep.
platform to do so easily.
Mhm.
And you can't bash people who literally make a living off of this game for complaining about their payouts getting cut. It'd be like if I was working a 9 to 5, right? And I was getting
Mhm.
paid weekly, of course, and randomly they decide to cut half my pay. It's like, that's fucked. That's really fucked, actually.
Yeah.
It's like shutting down official union laws. Like that's kind of the comparison I can
Yeah.
make.
Because like you're so used to getting that amount of money,
Exactly.
and then like you already have a plan, right? You put this amount to rent, you put this amount to whatever, and getting it cut fucks up your whole plan.
Exactly.
So
like
it's horrible.
People, the majority of people, right? They live their lives based off of how much they make.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Absolutely.
if I'm working the same amount of time every single week and making the same amount of money every single week, with minor fluctuation, randomly getting my payout cut in half one week is gonna fuck everything up.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I mean this is never a guaranteed like salary or a guaranteed job for that matter, but like there definitely does need to be some kind of consistency and not even like it depends. It does depend on how many plays you get, and even back then it depended, but
right.
it's it needs to be sort of consistent.
Right, and it's something
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of creators, including myself, were fighting about very early on in the scene is the fact that there's no consistency with Fortnite, which is why I
Mm-hmm.
personally say, right, this is not the scene you want to go to if you want to get rich.
It's not reliable.
I
Not
I
anymore.
wouldn't say
It
so.
was.
It could have been, but in its current state, it can't be because this
Yep.
game has gone from something that a lot of people do as a hobby to something people only go to the money. And when that happens, it creates competition. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was
Now,
I was gonna say it's interesting to me because like 3-4 years back the creative community and every map made used to just be art, and then that transitions to business and like competitive map making and competitive competing for plays, like that really
exactly.
drove this. I mean that's kind of obvious, but it's kind of what led to all this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just to like elaborate on what you're saying, let me know if I'm getting this right, but originally when we were starting, even like a year and a half ago now, the Fortnite creative community was driven by art. It was driven by actual passion towards projects.
Passion, yeah.
Yeah.
And nowadays, right, where the entire scene is focused a lot more on the business side, and I feel like a lot of that stems from the fact that a lot of Unreal Engine devs, real Unreal Engine devs, moved over into the Fortnite creative scene. And so now we're getting a mix of people who are learning, at least in the beginning of UEFN, we're getting a mix of people who are learning UEFN and trying to get used to the tools so that way they can continue making their passion projects. And then UE devs who are only coming here for cash because they see it as an easy way to make money since they already know the tools, which means they'll be able to make the maps quicker than everyone
Yeah.
else.
Mm-hmm.
Which is exactly what happened because a lot of these UE devs came over and like you guys watch Mustard Plays channel, of course, I would imagine, or at least
Well, not
used to.
recently, but
No, not recently at all, but
Not within like 2 years, but yeah, I do definitely respect that, man.
and towards the beginning of UEFN, there was a big shift to where the content he was showing went from just 1.0 creators and all of their content to the next day being all UE creators and all the cool stuff they're making now, right? It was a very quick transition, and it's because since they already understand the tools, they come over, they know everything. We don't because we're just starting.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But to be clear, we're not faulting him for that. It's like
Not
you
at all.
have to move along with the space as it moves. Like
Yeah,
that's just kind of
100%.
that's something that a lot of creators do fail at, myself included, if I'm being honest, is trying to put the puzzle piece together and fit myself into a constantly updating scene.
oh my god, yeah. I mean, like I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like you offered me to help build the Arizona 2 back when I was making that, and like my stubborn ass just said no because it's like it's fucking. I just want to do everything alone. It's like that's the dumbest way you can possibly go.
And I
Yeah.
going back like a year and a half, I didn't like working with teams. That was like one of my things. I was like syntax, never working on a team, wouldn't do it. I was always
Yeah.
building solo, And with the constantly fluctuating scene and the way things changed over time, it became very apparent to me that the only way I was ever going to succeed would more than likely be if I had a team. Now with UEFN, that changes things a little bit because with UEFN, if you know the tools and you understand how things work, you can be a solo creator and really make it. And I've seen it happen. But at the same time, with the way the ecosystem is now, where everything's competitive, everything's about how fast you can get this out. And it's been like that since the start. I mean, with Only Up, when Only Up was really, really big, Army, Army made that as quick as they could, and they blew up. They succeeded, and they're still doing great today.
I
I mean,
do remember that. Yeah.
they're doing amazing right now, and they have been doing amazing since the start. And I remember really early on, I saw a graph about it too. You know, like Gearsy was always, for us being creators in the scene a while, Gearsy was always the top. Army almost surpassed, and they might have at some point, if I'm being honest.
Damn.
Which is insane. The fact that someone or a team, who had, at least in my knowledge, not even been in the creative scene, randomly blew up like that off of just riding off of an idea that already existed. And not saying that they're wrong for that, but it's just the fact that that's possible is insane. That's
Yeah.
truly incredible. Um, and so that's my big issue with the creative scene, is the fact that, like, I don't think it should be possible to blow up that quickly with no prior experience in the scene. Maybe it's just me.
I mean, I do agree with that, but at the same time, you look at like platforms like YouTube, Twitch, all of that. It's like it's easy to make some random BS and like get millions of views,
Of course.
and that doesn't necessarily equate to the same metric as creative. But at the same time, it's like that has a lot better moderation as well, and it's been around for what 16 years now, so
Yeah, been out for a minute.
yeah.
Almost 20.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's just, and I one of the big arguments, switching topics a little bit here, one of the big arguments that I see from a lot of creators is, if you really want to make it, why don't you just promote your content and build an audience? But I feel like a lot of times the people who do say that are people who already have an audience. And what a lot of people don't factor in is that a lot of building an audience is based on luck, and it's not just skill. Obviously, I mean, Chowda right here. Chowda's been doing YouTube for a minute now and has seen some recent success, especially. You know, consistency plays a huge factor in creating an audience. But even now, I would not consider Chowda's following. No offense to you, I would not consider your following an audience.
It's not.
It's not, because subscribers or followers or whatever it is on whatever platform you're using doesn't equate to an audience. And
Yeah,
that's what a lot of people
that
don't.
is a very important element.
That's what a lot of people don't get. People assume if I make a ton of followers, if I get a ton of followers, if I get a ton of this, I'm gonna blow up. There are people who have thousands and thousands of followers on Twitter, for example, and get like 3 likes a post. There are people who have thousands and thousands of subscribers and get like 100 views a video.
I actually had a pretty big guy subscribe to my channel. 100K. I go to the channel, he doesn't even average 1,000 a video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's like followers does not always equate to success. Now, that's not to say that Chowda doesn't have an audience, because there's a very small amount of people who do actually consistently watch the videos, myself included, and I would consider myself part of that audience. And every creator should find their audience, but a lot of people tend to think that the followers equates to their actual audience and their success, which is just, it's wrong.
Yeah, it just doesn't, for sure.
Now, like I said right in the start of this whole thing, you should be promoting your content always on any platforms that you can, because at the end of the day, right, even though discovery is the best way for you to get your content out, discovery is unreliable because it's inconsistent. It doesn't work sometimes properly, And if you really want to do well, it's just the best for everyone to promote on social media. Also, I mean, I remember one time, who was it, immature, put one of his maps on a billboard. No, I mean,
It was what was it? I
Yep,
don't
it
think
was
it
a
was
billboard.
immature. It
It wasn't
was.
mature.
Oh, it was. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. I was thinking of the dude that put like the like trucks game on one of the trucks
oh,
at the UE
Oh,
convention.
yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of that guy.
but it was immature that one time that posted one of his games on a billboard, and that was incredible. That was actually kind of insane.
That is pretty awesome,
Um,
yeah.
and and if I'm being totally honest, he probably actually got quite a few players from that billboard. You should
Oh,
always be
for sure.
promoting. You should always be promoting from outside sources. Uh,
Hmm.
it's just a lot of smaller, especially smaller creators tend to rely on discovery because discovery is, well, for them, really their only way of succeeding.
Hmm.
Um, because growing an audience is not an easy 3 day long task. It's not.
Yeah.
I can't watch a. I really can't watch a get rich quick fast video.
Oh, dude, 5 minutes craft.
Like it's just it's not as easy as people want to think it is. Creating an audience can take a year, years even. It's not something that happens like that. I mean, and that's not to say you can't build an audience very quickly. Because if you play your cards right, you absolutely can. But I would say, for example, if you're trying to ride off of trends and you blow up by doing that, a lot of times people do that and then end up falling off.
Hmm.
And then when they fall off, they don't come back. They can't come back. Um,
I
and
don't
that's
blame him
why
though.
I don't blame them either.
Maintaining is so difficult, man.
It is.
It is. It really is. And I think a part of that too is like it's a very good point that you need to advertise outside of Discover. But at the same time now with Epic pulling this BS, excuse my language, but like they're pulling this card where the most amount of plays on certain islands in Discover gets the most money. And it almost feels like that element is competing with the need to promote elsewhere.
Yeah.
It almost feels to me, it almost feels intentional. Like it feels like it's forcing creators to only promote on Discover, which is I don't know if I'm right or wrong about that. That's just kind of how I read it.
I mean, look, I felt that way about Discover for a long time. I feel like they make it almost impossible for you to promote on other platforms. Um, by making it so that way you Discover almost guarantees success. But and it would if there weren't so many issues with it. I mean, what is it with it now? Like there's the moderation is still trash. Still somehow, some way after what is
Because
it,
they
Yeah.
won't
a
pay
year and a half.
humans like a couple $1,000s to moderate it, yeah.
I listen. I don't even. I just all in all, I don't really understand how Discovery works anymore. I mean, like I used to, but I can't even. I couldn't describe it to anyone how it works anymore. It's so off.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like nothing
I mean
works.
sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
You're good.
What I was gonna say is I have not been in the scene for almost a year and a half now, so I haven't been watching Discover at all. But like I've heard the complaints, and it still sounds ridiculous.
It's the same complaints from 3 years ago.
Yeah,
You know,
nothing's changed. Nothing's changed at all.
like genuinely the same exact thing from all that time. It's unbelievable if you will, because you'd think after all this time later they would have fixed something, anything, please, but
Yeah,
no.
and they
Yeah.
keep doing this thing where they're like trying to add new content and more new content without fixing the base. It's like they're trying to build a tower on top of like not dry cement, and it's just gonna collapse at some
Right.
point.
I look, I it might be a hot take, and a hot take for a lot of people. Um, but what Epic should do, I feel personally is they should stop releasing new content entirely. Like all in all, stop releasing new content and just start focusing on the bugs. Start fixing the issues ground up with Discover.
I
And then
100% agree.
once that's done, and I don't know how long that'll take. It might take forever, but I would much rather be in a scene where there's no new content but no bugs than a scene where there's constant bugs but always new content.
Like, yeah, I think it's better to fix the car now than to be on the highway of LA and have it break down, like in the middle.
Yeah.
That's like the best analogy I can come up with for that.
I don't know, but again,
100%.
maybe just a hot take on my end. What was one of the bigger things that started blowing up? Body cam started blowing up, and I'm not naming any names, of course, but a lot of creators just kind of keep coming back to it. Keep coming back to it and keep creating the same thing over and over again. And it kind of calls back to what we're talking about later. Riding off of trends has
Yeah.
always been very, very popular, but especially since UEFN came out, it has been, and it's more coming from the UE side, the UE devs. And again, that's not throwing shade towards UE devs that came over, but it's in a way it kind of like destroyed the ecosystem that we had, because maybe I'm remembering things wrong, but at the time when UEFN dropped, I feel like Creative 1.0 was just reaching a good point.
100%. I've always said this. I think they should have gave Creative 1.0 one more year and VFN one bake in the oven.
Because I feel like just right before the day before UEFN dropped, 1.0 was really making it. We were finally doing good. There was no drama. There was no problems. Nobody was complaining. There weren't really any bugs besides some minor event binding issues that were still happening. We were set. We were doing good. And then UEFN dropped. And then UEFN dropped and people lost their codes, Vex included. Tons of creators lost the ability to make maps. Like it was chaotic. The whole scene was just ruined in a day.
Which is expected when I think that would have happened no matter what, but I do agree one more year would have been very beneficial.
Could have been so beneficial. But I guess they didn't see the vision there. They were already working on it for a while before they dropped it, but the fact that I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was like a week before it dropped, or maybe a few months, something like that. They did a live stream where they were going to showcase UEFN.
Oh my, yeah, and it didn't work.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
I feel like that should have been your first sign that it wasn't ready.
Yeah.
If
100%.
you're showcasing it to the public and it doesn't fucking work when you try to showcase it, that should be a sign that things aren't going well.
Yeah.
Like the CEO of your company just tried to show off your biggest product of all time and it didn't work.
Yeah.
That's like if Tim Cook was showing off the iPhone 16 and tried to turn it on and it just didn't turn on.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
That would be catastrophic for Apple. This $1 trillion company, and they're showing off their new product and it doesn't work. Imagine how much money they'd lose that day alone.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know. I don't know how that could have happened and they still thought it was okay to drop UEFN.
Yeah.
After that. I don't know.
And that really was like a month or two beforehand. So it's like there's no way you fix that within that amount of time.
Really. I mean, like I haven't had any bug like that, thankfully. But I've had I'd rather UEFN just not open period than open UEFN and my project have mad bugs in it. If I'm being totally real.
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah,
understandable.
which has
agreed.
been happening to me recently. Really annoying. Um, and then something I really have been wanting to touch on is the way that you have to submit bug reports now. Um, if you
I'm gonna let
if
you two take the stage here because I know nothing about this.
Me neither.
yeah,
This is all you,
okay,
really.
All
so
right, let's all use graphs.
updating both of you a little bit here. If you try to submit a bug report at all anywhere, they tell you the same thing every time. They tell you post it in the dev forums every single time. Every time, never fails.
Mm.
They won't take in bug reports now unless it's in the forums. But then you post it in the forums and it has a very low chance of even being seen. If I'm being totally real, because I mean I've seen so many bugs that have been there for months and months and months that still exist. I mean, what's going on there? You'd think you see it and you start working on it soon after, maybe like a month or two after.
Yeah, sorry to interject. I was mind blown just a few months ago. I did like a stream where I came back for like just an hour and like wanted to see what changed. The UI, first of all, is really bad, but the fact that
Yes,
they
it's
didn't
horrible.
fix
It's
like
gotten some updates.
any of the multi-select bugs or any of the device bugs, like I was just mind blown. It's been a year and a half. How? Like, what?
Yep.
Um, you know, I about the multi-select bug. I remember, of course, I would hope you two remember it, right? You'd
Oh yeah.
multi-select and then everything would get greened out.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And
Now
it would
it's
go like
that.
offset.
Now it's that, but everything's blue.
Yeah. It's
Oh fuck.
horrible, man. Like I'm
Like they
currently
fixed
creating a
it.
map
Yeah.
as we speak, and like functions still just don't work.
Your toilet.
Like it makes no sense.
Yeah, it's cooked.
Like it's so stupid.
Now, Lex, they did. I mean, for both of you, really, they did give updates to the UI, and I personally do think it's better now because
Uh,
it's gotten some worthwhile update. But it is still pretty shit, and I would for the more majority of the UI, I would prefer the old one over the new one. There are some
the
minor
way,
things in it that I prefer now, though. But one
yeah,
of the best things I've heard about the UI, both in creative and in the lobby, is it looks like a mobile UI.
it really does. Yeah.
And
It does.
I used to not agree with that, but I had to play on Fortnite mobile for 3 months because I wasn't home. And after playing on Fortnite mobile for 3 months, I started to slowly realize that the mobile UI actually looks better than the normal UI on console and PC. And that was that was mind blowing to me. I was like, how could you possibly make the mobile UI better than the two bigger platforms? How? And like I said, I used to not agree with the fact that it looks like a mobile UI, but it actually works better as a mobile UI on mobile.
Mhm.
It's a little unbelievable. And I don't think it's actually shit as a PC UI either, but it
I'm
gets a
gonna have
little
to disagree with
annoying.
you there, respectfully.
Like it needs some major tweaking, but I think where it's worse than anything else is on console. I think it's just terrible.
Oh my god,
Unusable on console.
dude, it's actually horrible. Like some of it just doesn't work.
It's
Can't
It
great
go
for
straight
through the
up doesn't.
games.
Yeah.
galleries. I have to like exit out, exit back, or come back
Yeah,
in.
and
Oh,
Yeah.
it's horrible.
It's great on
I I
mobile.
I, I use
It's
PC, but like I use a controller to build. And yeah, you're right. Like you actually have to. It won't open the menu. You have to go all the way
Mhm.
back and then back in. It's
Mhm.
fucking stupid.
I hate it, man.
no.
It's been like that for months.
The
Yeah.
mobile on mobile, it's perfect. It's actually really good on mobile. You guys should try it. It's insane. Um, on
You can
PC,
record creative on mobile. I didn't know that.
it's okay. It's all right. But then on console, it's like, oh my god, man. Oh my god.
Terrible.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
So some major tweaks to the UI would be lovely, I think. Um
Mhm.
I mean that'd be amazing. I'd love that. I think the biggest issue with the UI right now is the lobby. I think creative could live the way it is right now just for a little bit, but the lobby just needs some major reworking because
It does.
I
I mean like
It's
I've been
bad.
hearing for a minute now that it's just like it doesn't feel like Fortnite.
No, Fortnite's lost its identity. It
oh, it
truly
really
has.
has.
And a part of me does kind
UI
of miss
is.
that like overly cartoony style with everything, you know?
100%.
Because I do like the look of the new UI. I just think it doesn't really like work in Fortnite, if I'm being totally honest, just because of the way that
Yeah.
the game used to be.
Think opposite, honestly. I think it's so ugly, man. I hate the UI. It's so ugly. It's like it's so round and like, bro, the fact that Discovery P at the bottom, it looks so fucking terrible. I hate it so much. I
What
hate
for
it
some
so
reason
much.
what pisses me off in particular is when you're in 1.0 and just building. I miss just placing down objects without going and like every time you place something it does that and it's so
Mhm.
fucking annoying for no reason.
I'm a little
Yeah,
bit
bro.
scared about the fact that you just did that perfectly, but whatever. That was that was odd.
That was actually perfect.
Uh, all right. I'm sorry. That was just like kind of scary. The fuck? Can you do that again?
That's one time replicable only. Can't happen.
Damn.
Oh wow.
Fuck.
Limited
It's like a
uses.
painter, you know.
I'm gonna watch that
Yeah,
back a
yeah.
few times. Um,
Yeah, man. Feel free to sample that for games.
Oh, 100%, dude. When you boot up shit. Oh yeah.
something that I have been waiting to talk about for a minute here, as we're nearing the last 20 minutes of this podcast already. Uh, Fall Guys in creative. That's a big one. Um, I don't know if you guys. I know Chowda has. I don't know about you, Vex. Actually playing Fall Guys.
I have played it once.
It's I personally I think Fall Guys is a pretty cool game. I think
I think it was fun, yeah.
I think ever since Epic has taken over, it has progressively gotten kind of worse. Um, because Epic introduced money into the scene and they made it a lot more about money than
More
the
corporate
game.
than anything.
Much more corporate.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the big things in Fall Guys was that you could use crowns to get stuff, and ever since Epic has taken over, like you pretty much have to pay for everything, which is annoying.
They feel like the new EA.
A little bit, kind of, yeah. I refuse to play any EA games though.
Yeah, I'm
um,
with you.
that and Ubisoft. I just like they kind of ruined that game, which is why I'm glad it's in Fortnite now, because now in Fortnite we have the ability as creators to kind of manipulate it however we want to, which I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I heard from one person in particular that it doesn't the mechanics on Fortnite don't feel like Fall Guys. That confused me a bit because I think maybe I'm wrong. I think it feels exactly like Fall Guys.
And I believe that too.
Have you played any
It
Fall
feels
Guys maps,
very
Vex?
good.
Yeah, dude, I have not been on Fortnite in like 2 months.
I would actually look into some Fall Guys maps because they're pretty fun. I can't lie. Um, it really feels like they copy and pasted the mechanics over from Fall Guys to Fortnite. It's really good. They did that. They actually did pretty good. I haven't experienced any bugs.
Hmm.
The only bug I've seen, and it was on TikTok of all places, is someone managed to get into Rewind Royale. Um, the newer OG Battle Royale map with the Fall Guys character.
What the fuck? That is
It was
awesome.
odd.
Every time you mention bugs, I just flash back to the time we were flying around in tanks.
That man.
every single time. And
Oh,
I
yeah,
still
yeah,
have
yeah.
that. I still have that footage on a thumb drive in like some sort of data form, and I just have not. I haven't edited it. I haven't done
You
anything
don't
with it,
even
and it needs to be released.
Chowder. You don't
I
even
got
know,
you, bro.
man. If
I
you
can
send
edit
me
that thing.
if you send me the file, I'll put it at the end of this podcast.
All right.
Genuinely.
I will do my best.
Chowder, to explain it to you in short, where this podcast originates is from Vex's old podcast, Creative Cast.
Mm.
And we did an episode one time, me and him, but it was so long and so fucking funny
It was like
that
6
it
fucking
broke his
hours.
computer. It broke his computer, and he just
Oh my god,
it was
that's
so
fucking awesome.
It was so funny.
It,
And
it was so
there was a
fucking
bug at the
funny.
time that pretty much the way we built the map is there was going to be 4 levels,
Mhm.
and they were gonna be super fucking challenging, and there was one with tanks, and we were not aware that there was a bug with tanks at the time, and we would just be randomly driving around, and it would just fucking shoot up in the air and start doing fucking 360s and somersaults, bro.
Yeah.
That's
Oh my
awesome.
God.
They would also like teleport around the map, so you'd just be in one place, and then it would fucking fling you like 80 miles to the other.
It was so
That's
funny.
It
awesome.
was so
Oh
fucking
my
funny.
god, it was hilarious. It was that truly would have been the greatest episode of that podcast.
Hey, I'm still gonna make it happen. I just need to
6
find that
hours,
thumb
Chowder.
drive.
Damn, bro.
It was so good. It was
That's so funny.
the only reason it was 6 hours is because we had to do a part 2 because we didn't get to finish the first the first one.
Yeah, because your ass
Oh,
wanted to
wow.
make like fucking 5 different areas.
And the only reason that it took so long is because of the tank bug, and it was too funny for us to actually
It was
focus
so
and lock in. It was bad. It was bad.
That's funny as hell.
And
That's awesome.
that's where this podcast originates, because that episode never got released, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm taking it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he stole my IP, unfortunately.
Wow.
I can still sue for that.
I remember the because
Uh-oh.
it's not the same name.
You went wrong.
But I remember where that originates. It was a group chat. We started in a group chat. That was how the podcast started.
Yep.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. So what was I talking about? Fall Guys Creative. So I was pointing out that I do actually think Fall Guys Creative is good for creative. It's something I feel like a lot of people haven't been talking about enough. It's a little bit underappreciated, if you will, because
I agree.
I actually think that, oh my god, the low battery ad lib. Because I do actually think that Fall Guys Creative is good, like very good for the ecosystem. It's a good idea, and I'm glad they did it.
100%.
And then when it comes to Lego Creative I think is also really good for creative. I just think the whole idea of introducing different IPs into creative is awesome, and they should have been doing that from the
100%.
start. Because oh my god, man, imagine Lego Creative.
I can't wait.
2.0.
Bro, I can't wait for the IP like items to come to creative, because they're still working on that if I'm not wrong, which I'm very excited for, bro. It's gonna be so fun.
Super excited for that. And I have recently been enjoying building maps in Fall Guys and Lego more than building in normal Fortnite. It's a lot
Oh,
more
wow.
fulfilling. The only issues that I have with both is that, especially more specifically Lego, is that we don't have access to as many tools in Lego, and so you're kind of forced into using things like verse, right? And of course, if you
Mhm.
don't know verse very well, that tends to be an issue. But you know, it's been working out, and I do enjoy building in those, and I would recommend building in those if you haven't already, for anyone.
Mhm.
Because I'm pretty sure 1.0 creators can still make Lego Islands and I don't know about Fall Guys, but Lego Islands, yeah.
Mhm.
Which I'm glad. I'm glad they're still thinking about 1.0. You know, at least.
Yeah, I kind of wish they did more, honestly, because like, man, I I don't know, man. I feel like
See, but
1.0 could be so much better.
but you can't lie that 1.0 has been gifted with some awesome tools this past year.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
I agree. I just wish they
Like,
came
I mean,
earlier,
the other day I
honestly.
showed you the audio mixer. Audio mixer
Mm-hmm.
is very good device. Um, of course, we have the patchwork, which
Yeah,
I think
Patchwork
is.
is
I
awesome.
personally think patchwork is one of the best things we've gotten in creative.
I don't even
Um,
know what that is. I'm not gonna lie.
You
it's
can make pretty much. It's like FL Studio and
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
Fortnite.
Oh, dope.
essentially, and it's
Mm-hmm.
in 1.0.
It's
Um,
awesome.
and it works really well. I mean, it's solid. Uh, so that's very cool. Um, and then there's just like, and I've been seeing it a lot on Twitter too. Is 1.0 is not shit. You know,
It's not.
1.0 is still useful. 1.0 still can be used, and it's just about where your mind takes you.
And it also goes back to like the appreciating art because like a lot of 1.0 now is just that you can't make much money off 1.0, and
Yeah.
it's more just a place to make art. And I think that's what was so beautiful about the original creative and why creative isn't exactly creative anymore, because there's no need to like jailbreak shit and find stuff and use it the way it's not meant to be used anymore.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
just have the tools to make anything you want, and that's not a bad thing, but it's just not creative anymore.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the whole awesome part about creative, like Zach was saying, was the idea that you didn't really have all the tools that you needed, and so you'd have to kind of like makeshift your way into creating things that shouldn't
Mm-hmm.
even
Especially
be
custom
possible.
props.
Custom
Yeah, yeah. I
props.
was I was like the best example I have is, and I remember this too. Is like I was testing one of Syntax's maps, and I asked him like, "What is this door made out of?" And he like I had like three guesses, and all of them are wrong. And he's just like, "Oh no, it's a teacup." And I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean it's a
Hell
teacup?
yeah.
How'd you make a door out of?" And it's like, "What?" And then yeah, that was kind of the
Yeah,
moment I
man.
realized like, "Damn,
Nothing
I would
beats
personally,
the nothing beats the
um
creative 1.0 charm.
yeah,
Nothing, man.
making fucking roofs out of fucking cups and shit.
oh yeah,
You
Perks
know,
out of fucking air conditioners.
yep,
essentially,
yep."
like
Mannequins out of teeth.
Yeah.
like it's just creative was cool back in the day because of the fact that we had to like we had to figure out how to do things that shouldn't be possible, whether it be props, buildings,
Yeah.
mechanics that shouldn't be possible at all, but
Yeah.
were. Creative was literally creative, and that aspect has kind of been sucked out of it. Now listen, I have no hate for UEFN creators. As a UEFN creator myself, I prefer UEFN over 1.0. I do. I
So
love
you heard
Yeah,
it here
UEFN.
man.
first. Charo hates himself.
Uh, listen, I do prefer UEFN simply for the fact that I think it's more convenient than 1.0, personally.
And you can do a
But
lot more, man.
of course, but never ever ever will I tell people not to use 1.0 or that 1.0 is
Yeah.
bad, because I mean, like, 1.0 is truly, if it correct me if I'm wrong, but 1.0 is one of the greatest feats in gaming history. Gaming history.
I would
I
100% agree.
100% agree, man.
There has never
It's
there has never been a platform that allows as much creativity, as much ability, I already said creativity, as much flexibility as
not
Creative
only that,
1.0.
but simplicity too. It's so simple. It's so simple
There's
compared to other things, man.
there like truly never been a game development platform is what I'll call it. There's never been a game development platform that has been as simple as that. And I would say
100%.
Disney Infinity, but we're not gonna count Disney Infinity because that's not really true game development at all.
Hmm.
That's
Well,
just
Mario
pretty much a
Maker.
sandbox. Or
I
Mario
forgot
Maker.
about Mario Maker.
Mario Maker is actually pretty cool. I used to have it on my Switch.
Love Mario Maker back in the
Mario
day.
Maker was
Great.
cool. Um, but I mean, at the same time, it doesn't really compare to 1.0. I don't think.
Oh no, absolutely not. Yeah.
You know, they're two completely different things.
Even nowadays, right? Even with UEFN as a competitor, right? I could make fucking Mario Maker in 1.0.
Yep.
We have a
Yep.
side scroller device. We have all these different cool things. You know, like anything is
Do we
possible
really?
in 1.0.
I didn't know.
Yeah, we
it.
have side scroller devices also.
I feel like the old man who's like, really?
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Back in my day.
Hey.
Back in my day.
Especially once I think 1.0 would be like really good once we get verse and able to use it. Cuz I'm pretty sure they're still working on that if I'm not wrong.
Back in my day, we
Bringing
had to make
verse to 1.0.
cinematics with a hella pattern player references.
And fucking sequencers that wouldn't load in level.
Sequencers.
That's
Yes.
Teleporters to constantly
Teleportings
players
to
so they
different
keep
rooms.
looking,
yep. Player persistent.
Oh my
my,
dude.
my cinematics were always based off of like teleporting the player constantly so they can keep looking in
Yep.
the direction they weren't allowed to move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Little barrier,
Dude.
helipads going
my
all the way
God.
down.
When I think of 1.0 cinematics, I honestly think about Syntax because that one map
Yep. Yep.
was fucking nuts. It felt like an actual cinematic. It was done so well.
What was Do You Blame Yourself?
Yes, that
Yeah,
one, yes.
that was like
We're coming down to our last 4 minutes of the podcast.
Oh wow.
ladies
That
and
was
gentlemen.
quick as fuck.
Yeah, I know.
I hate
usually
time.
is. The
Hate time.
podcast makes time fly.
I'm gonna turn 30 tomorrow, bro.
And then
Shit's ridiculous.
Mr. Time over here, Vex. This guy's all about time.
I am. You're not wrong.
But we're gonna end off the podcast here just by talking about you two, because we haven't really gotten into that much. I'll start off with Vex here. Vex, you've been writing, as I know. How's that been going for you?
Yep. It is good. I finally managed to escape my basement. The shackles were hard to break, but I managed to do it. No. I finished my book, and it turned out really good. Trying to find a publisher right now, but acronym is CL. So if anyone wants to spread the word of it, just say CL is coming literally anywhere.
It's awesome.
That's awesome to hear.
And
dude.
I've started working on several other projects, but
That's cool.
yeah, it's about it.
I hope eventually I can hop into a Barnes and Nobles with my gift card that I've never used and get
Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon.
That'd be awesome. That'd be really cool if I could just say, yeah, my friend made that. Fuck you. I like bragging
To the
about
poor,
things
the
my
poor
friends have
worker
done.
there.
Fuck yeah.
Just like, hey, how's your day? My friend made this. Fuck you.
You guys don't even know. I do that all the time. I absolutely brag to everyone.
Wow,
about
man.
Things my
Damn.
friends do. It's fucking awesome.
You go up
That
to
is really
random
cool.
like grocery store workers and just yell "fuck you" in their face.
Buy this book, or else.
Buy my
Buy this
book.
Because I made a bet.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome.
that's funny.
And then
Anyway,
also,
sorry,
shout
Chowder,
out-
you go ahead.
Chris,
uh.
I mentioned it earlier. You've been seeing some recent success with YouTube. How's that going for you? I know you're taking a break right now, but how's that been going?
I mean, it's going good. Right now, it's kind of a mess. I don't know what to do. Right now at the moment, like, I'm in a situation where like editing is like so tiring with the PC I have. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Feel
So-
that.
Yeah, so I just decided I'm gonna take a break until my new PC get here. A friend bought me a PC. Appreciate you,
Okay,
gang.
dope.
Yeah, no, I mean YouTube's great. I wanna expand on long form videos because I'm only striving in shorts at the moment, and like, well, yes, it's nice. I'm getting like a lot of subs. It's not like true subscribers.
Right.
Right.
Like I was
right,
talking
right.
about earlier, you're not really building
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah.
So even though I'm getting a lot of subs, a lot like quickly, I'm getting views quickly, and I can actually make money very soon. Actually, I want to work on like the actual long form content side of thing, and with the new PC, not only am I gonna actually be able to fucking edit like a smooth, like with a smooth process, but I'm also gonna be able to play indie games and all that cool stuff. So YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Shameless plug. Subscribe to Chowda.
Yep. You
You
can
know what I'm
find him
saying? Chowda X.
And if that doesn't show up,
Yeah.
then you can look up Chowda Fortnite. It'll show up.
Yep, I hate it, but it pops up.
Also,
and yeah, man.
sorry, I gotta plug myself too.
Yep.
If you want to see the review of what my book is about, it's on my YouTube channel tonight. So,
Awesome. I'll
VEXFC
definitely check it out
Studios.
too.
Sorry to interrupt.
Of course.
Nah, man.
You're all good.
And topic of plugs, go for it.
Yep. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're reaching the hour mark here. And so we're gonna start closing off the podcast. I want to say that I love having you guys on, and so anytime that you guys want to talk, you hit me up and I'll bring you on.
100%, man.
Yeah, anytime you want to call me when I just wake up, please do. It's been fun.
I had to wake up Vex for this podcast.
Oh wow.
He did.
Oh yeah, he
Sleep
was asleep.
deprived
I
and
called
shit.
him and I was like, "Yo, I need you."
I was like,
Give me 10 minutes.
But for the people who are actually watching, whether it be on Apple Podcasts, whether it be on Spotify, whether it be on Amazon Music, whether it be on iHeartRadio, because we are on there, whether you watch it there or not.
Wait, actually,
Oh yeah, you can find us on
that's
iHeartRadio.
dope,
Come on,
dude.
man.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
No matter where you look, we're there. If you're watching here on YouTube, even, make sure you join the Discord server. Link is going to be in the description if you're on YouTube. And if you're not on YouTube, you can go to our Twitter by looking up Vortex Creative Studios, and you'll find our Discord link there. And
Check out the merch.
when you go to our Discord, you can go to the After Hours podcast by subscribing to the server if you're a Discord nerd. But ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the Vortex Lounge. I'll see you guys around.